And good afternoon. Wow, that's really loud. I know what's going on with that. Sorry about the doubling. Here we go. I was watching videos earlier, so the monitor's up. Anyway, sorry about that. Good afternoon, good evening to everyone. How's everyone doing? Happy Thursday. Hopefully your Thursday is going well. Today, it has been a wild week. Some of it is self-induced. Ended up making a bit of an error on one of the products, and that allowed me to repaint a painting. What had happened was one of the 543s from Monday. When I load them up onto the site, I set them so that they obviously can't back order. They're one of a kind type of thing. But one of the paintings, I had left the back order button active, and two people bought the same painting. So what I ended up having to do was repaint that painting differently, but still the same subject for that second person. So that, among other things, is making it a really crazy week. So what I thought we'd do today is there's a big commission painting that I've been working on. It doesn't have or starting to work on. It doesn't have a real specific timeline for it, but I want to get it done because it's a really great painting. It'll be a lot of fun, and I'll explain it to you as we go. So what I have here is something that we don't usually do here, and it's a painting at the very, very beginning stages. So there might be some painting today, but there also might not be because I'm setting up a lot of this painting. So, and because I literally just walked in the door from running around doing errands this morning, I am going to be a little bit disheveled as far as things for this to be prepared. So there may be a few breaks in this while I go get things that I need, but we'll figure that out. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope the week is going well for you. And one last bit of housekeeping to take care of before we jump into it. It happened last Thursday, thanks to Scott McKay, but the channel reached that first goal of 1,000 subscribers. So again, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for all your comments, shares, likes, subscriptions. It's growing in such a great way, and I have you guys all to thank for that. So let's keep it going. So if you know anyone who would be interested in it, please pass it on, and we will continue to make it bigger and better. It's like anything. The bigger this gets, the more time I can put into it. So that's the goal, to make it a big part of it. So I haven't even set everything up, so I can't see who's talking right now, but when we switch cameras around, I'll get all that set up and say hello to everyone. And I think that's it. All right, let's roll over. You get the sideways view. There we go. Svi, what's up, buddy? Teresa. Franz, Dave, Paul, Marshall, Dan. Fingerprints. Shane. Yes? I'm so terrible with names that aren't the actual people. But hello, Fingerprint. Oh no, Fingerprint is James, right? Yeah, Fingerprint is James Melton. So, James Melton, your stuff just went out today, so you shall see that in a few days. All right, let me switch over so I can get the comments over on the other side. That will make it a little bit easier for me to see what's going on. That will be stunning. While I'm doing that, I'll put this out. This is the, if you guys were here on Monday, this is the finished, since this is my UK edition too, I'll have to do it the correct way. This is my Jaguar hood ornament. So that's how that came out. It's all done. Very interesting with this one too. If you watch the feed from Monday, I put a gigantic scratch right here in the end as I was finishing up. There's a fingerprint over here, which I also had to fix. I had to finish putting in some details on that too. But it worked out really well. I ended up reworking the entire background and in order to get that fingerprint out and the scratch. But it worked out pretty well. So this one, it wasn't available till I had it finished, which I just finished it yesterday. So it is now up on the site. So if you're interested in that, it is there. Cody Adams, what's up? Maddie Mize, what's happening? Marshalls. Yeah, there we go, James. Yeah, James, I posted yours today too, so you can check it out. Okay, so that's that. The other thing too, the code, the Amigo code is still, that's going to be valid for the Three Amigos painting till it sells, I think, because I really want that to go to a good home. So That was it too. So you type in Amigo if you want that painting, and it'll save you 30% off that one, which is huge. What else? Oh, the 1,000 thing. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So with that 1,000 subscribers, you guys are already on YouTube. So if you jump back to the main page, my main page, and go to the community tab, you'll see the 1,000 post on there. All you have to, and I know some of you already done it, all you got to do is just pop a comment in there after you subscribed. Or if you've already subscribed, just pop a comment on there. And what I'm going to do is on the end of the February 3rd, I'm going to draw a random name out of those names. And whoever wins will get a 543 as well. They get to pick any one of them on my site. So that's what we got. Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah. It's awesome. Donna, what's up? Tom Thompson, what's up? All right. So here's the deal. And I don't know if I don't think I've even shown you guys this because it's pretty new. So I'll tell you the story behind it. And it'll give you a good idea of how things kind of start on a major painting when I get going on this. So the story is the gentleman who commissioned this. Let's share that one last. So when he was a kid in the 60s, he had worked at a gas station. And see if I can find a photo of the actual gas. Here it is. So this is the gas station that he worked at. This is so he spent a lot of time here. He was into racing. So I think I have a photo of, I'll show you the photo of him and his brother's cars. So he worked at this gas station when he was a kid, when he was 16, and he has really fond memories of it. Now, this gas station is long gone. The area in Massachusetts where this is has completely been redeveloped with car dealerships, and so this thing is gone, way gone. But what he wanted was an image of it during its heyday. So there aren't that many images of it. This is one image of the gas station as it was kind of, working and going. The cars in here are amazing. But what he did was he was able to find all the photos he could of it, and some of them are pretty cool, like this one here. This was back in the 40s when they were building it. So he printed off all these photos and gave me a bunch of them. So we have the idea now. He wants a painting of the gas station, like it's operating. He wanted to show the owner in the scene somewhere, and yeah, so it's just kind of a whole thing. The interesting part about this is there is no photograph like what he sees in his head, like the image he wants. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to kind of make up this whole thing using the information that we have to make a decent painting. Franz, what's up? If I did not say hello. Chris Garcia, hello. Awesome, you guys. So cool. Thank you for coming in and hanging out. All right. So I take all the photos and we go over a lot of different stuff. We talk a lot about all kinds of different things, like what he wants to see, what parts of this are important. He gave me a lot of like boots on the ground type info. Like for instance, this the phone booth here had been moved at some point before he started, so he didn't want the phone booth there. So things like that. We went through a whole bunch of stuff, and again, he has a lot of these random photos of the building. And what's nice is there really is enough photos where I have a lot of information about this building, even though there isn't anything that's exactly like, oh, I just copy that and that's the painting. So I've got a lot of great information, like this side of the building, some of the signs that were in the windows. I have a really good idea of the structure of the building from this, when they were building it way back, things like that. So this is a great photo of the owner when it was running, and the rest of the things that were going on the street. Because like I said, this part of the street now, or the whole street, really, it's called Auto Mile in Massachusetts, and it's all these super fancy car dealerships. So it's changed a lot. So that's what we got. So what I started with was just some rough sketches for him, and to try to figure out like what I'm going to do with this. So the first one I did was I kind of first we decided what size he wanted, and we're going to end up doing 11 by 17. My dad had a Sunoco station in '70. Worked there when I was 13, got a pic of his 69 Mach Park. See, Dan, that's amazing. That is really cool. Scott McKay, and of course, Scott McKay is here, so check out Scott tonight on YouTube, on his Down and Dirty Tricks, Scott McKay Thin Air Graphics page. Always a good time. Today's cheers is Gatorade Zero. So we have a lot more running around to do today, so I don't want to end up getting stupid. But for all my UK friends, my GMT and GMT minus folks, you guys can all cheers, and I will live vicariously through you. So cheers to that. All right. So what I do is I start with a bunch of rough sketches to kind of go back and forth with him to kind of get an idea of what we're wanting. Now he's actually a friend of mine too. I've known this guy for a long time. And if you remember, I did a painting of a white 63 Corvette convertible. That's his car. Also that painting of the old restaurant with all the cars in front, that's him also. So I did that painting for him. So this is just one other one in the list. So when I started this one, well, I know it's going to be 11 by 14, so you see those little check marks in the corner. That's proportionately 11 by 14. And what I decided to do to start was to use the most complete photo that we had, which was that one being built, this one here. So I started with that one as a guide because that's very accurate, and then I took some of the information off the other photos to kind of fill in the gaps. What happens is in this type of process, you kind of find the pitfalls early as you're making these sketches. So for this one, I think I ran into the problem of the perspective where this is, and I'm going to get you guys in a better spot so you can really see it. All right, there's pretty much the whole image right now. So what I found was you're kind of low on the picture frame, so you're looking almost down. You're almost like you're on your knees looking at this. The problem here is when I put the gas pumps in here, they'll ride right across the front here and block a lot of the building. When I go to put the owner in, and he wanted the owner kind of standing in one of the open bays. There's a really good shot that one of the two gas pumps would block him. So I didn't want that. So this one I kind of ended up killing early. So then we decided to do, since the owner is kind of the star of the show, I ended up switching to, where is it? Just showed it. To this one as my guide. So what I figured I'd do with this photograph, since this shows everything I want, it has, excuse me, it has the building, what's wrong with this? Struggle bus. I've got the building here. Gonna have the gas pumps here with the island. I have a good layout of the perspective. I'll be able to show some of the other, buildings in the background as well. Maybe this one, that Sunoco sign, which is really cool, which I couldn't get on the other one. So what I do is I use this as the base for the photo, for the painting. So I'll show you that. Oh, incidentally, those are Tony's race cars. This is his, and that's his brother's. So, I mean, imagine having that car now. Even this one too in the back. Just awesome. So, let's see, where's my sketchy sketch? Here it is. So this is what I came out with, and this is what we're going to roll with. All right, I'll get your head on a little bit more so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm not watching the comments, I'm sorry. There we go. My dad dealt with Mobil and Getty Gas, liked washing the windows for tips as a kid. Yeah, see, that's what's cool about these type of jobs. Everyone usually has fond memories of their first real job, and that's exactly what we're doing with Tony. He really, this place meant a lot to him. So this is 11 by 14, these little circles in the corner. So that's proportional to 11 by 14. And then what I did was I actually took the photograph, and that's the basis for the painting now. So with that, I have enough perspective lines in the corner of this building and in the gas station to essentially finish the rest of the image. So picture just panning out from what this photo was, and I can make up the rest of it. And this works out really, really good because now I get most of the building, the important part of the building, the front of the building, the side. I'm going to throw a car, just a nose of a car parked right here. I'll be able to show the signs. I'll have both gas pumps, which will be nice, the oil rack, and then I'll be able to take the owner and just put him right here in the doorway back here. It'll be perfect. He'll be almost in the center. If you were looking at that whole thing about the Perspective Tech Tuesday, the Composition Tech Tuesday, He'll be off to the side, so he won't be right in the middle, essentially. And then there's this great just triangle perspective type field that'll pull you right into this painting. So that's kind of what I came up with. So this is where I'm at right now. So I didn't count on that. We may not be working on this one because I just realized what I would need to do to get to the next stage. And I can't do that with you guys. So what's going to happen from here? So we're going to work on the Ford painting tonight. Oh boy. What I'm going to have to do from here is make just take this and shrink it down a little bit so it fits onto my projector. My projector is, we'll take like a 5x7 image, like about this. So I got to get this down to 5x7. And what I'll do is I'll take what's right here and then project that onto the actual panel, which is right here, which you can't see because it's too big. So that is what's going on. All right, so then I'll just project this simple drawing, which has the basic stuff on it, onto here. Now normally what I would do is when I get the image on, if say he wanted just this, right? He just wanted this on this. I would, project this image right onto here, get all the details, and then just start painting. With this one, what I'm going to have to do is get the basic stuff on here, and then actually draw in all the details. So draw in everything that's missing by the information that I have on the other photos. So that's kind of how it's going to go. And if I had thought about it for 5 seconds yesterday, I would have projected it already so that we could have gone on with this, because what I would have then done is I can start by painting the sky in this one. A lot of times I put clouds in. What I think I'm going to do with this one, though, instead of doing puffy clouds, where is it? There is one. One of the photos. Here it is. This photo has some real wispy clouds and then a couple contrails, things like that. So that's the sky, I think, the type of sky that I think I'm going to use for this. And I mean, I could put clouds in, but I think that's just going to be too much. There's so much going on in this image that I think the area needs a little bit of rest. He needs a place where you can just kind of relax. So that's going to be this wedge of blue up here. Plus this pole here, I don't quite know what this pole is. I can't really tell from the photo. I'm sure it's a light. So so I'm going to have to resolve that too, because I'm sure you'd be able to see maybe a little bit of it, maybe not. But anyway, so that's kind of what I'm thinking for this. And that's the process. That's how one of these paintings goes, where it's not just a one-for-one from a photograph. It's a lot of fun because I get to kind of make up a lot of stuff. And it's also a challenge too, because there's a lot that can go wrong. As soon as we start making stuff up, that's where it can really go sideways. But again, the nice thing is I have a lot of great photos I have photos of the building in its natural setting, so that I can steal a lot of the colors from it and the feel of it. Not so much so because this is a a 60s photo, and it certainly has different colors in real life. So the way I adjust for that is while I'm doing research for this, or while I was doing research for this, I just went online and looked up all these different building type things and different lighting setups, and got a palette essentially for the palette that I'll be using. So I know this is the deep blue, I know this is yellow and white. From there I can go on and develop a palette that will help me kind of make it cohesive across the board and make it look real. So I hope that all makes sense. Simon Carter, what's up, buddy? That's what we got. All right, so we're kind of at a standstill here because I can't project it with you guys because it's too much of a hassle to move everything around then, and you wouldn't see it anyway because I have to turn out all the lights. What I really, I don't do a lot of larger paintings like I used to. I will probably get back into it, but when I do, what I'm going to need to do, and I keep saying this, is I need to invest in a digital projector so I don't have to go through the, jumping through hoops of a non-digital projector, which is what I do now. So that's it. So for today, since I feel bad that we wouldn't be painting, let's paint. I'll go grab the Ford painting, and we'll work a little bit on that. So hold tight while I go and grab that. And be good to go. Actually, I'll just leave that there. Hold on 1 second. Okay. The question is do I have the stuff for this here? That is the question. It's been a while since I worked on this one too. It is. That's strange. I don't know where they I don't know what folder is for that. All right. Plan C. This is what happens. Oh, man. All right. So let's not do this one because I don't have the folder here. So let's go back to Plymouth. It's so crazy. All right. Oh boy. I really have this. I'm really okay. All right. Plan C. We'll work on Plymouth. Did I dump that out? Let me see what we have here. If I'm lucky or not. Oh, lovely. Okay. Okay. So let's do this. Marge leaves you alone for a minute, I fall apart. I know, Chris. You know what it was too? I actually was thinking about doing that other one this morning. Didn't think much more about it, and then I ended up, like I said, running around. So when that happens, things get out of control. So anyway, let's work on the Plymouth painting. That'll be nice. So yeah, let's do this. We'll actually put in, since this one is done as a demo. I did this a couple times with the the rocks and water and all that fun stuff. Now what I'll do for you guys today, I'll start working on this as a regular painting. So I'm going to lock in the sky in this, and the waves and the clouds and all that fun stuff. We'll get this going because I do want to get this painting done too. It's just this one's so far down on the list now because there's so many other things that need to be done, but it'll work. No, Svi, it's regular business around here. What I would be doing, actually, I'd be working on the 543s if I wasn't, but we did that last week, and I didn't want to do that again this week. So if, say there wasn't a feed today, or there wasn't a feed at all, that's what I'd be working on right now, is those 543s for Monday. But again, we already did that, and I want to give you guys at least something different. So this will be good. And I can't work on the Harley painting because that's the open studio thing, so this will work just fine. Scott, if you're still on, did you notice the curvature of the earth right here? Just wanted to throw that out there. What could go wrong? Exactly. Assisted living? I know, I'm telling you. That's what I feel like sometimes. Although I do like oatmeal. Oatmeal is fantastic. It's a good thing. And then, where is it? Where is that? Oh, palette cam. Thanks again, Scott. Scott's my technical advisor, by the way. So yes, palette cam is working. Oh, I forgot to do that too. I got to adjust the color on that a little bit. It's a little bit too yellow on the palette cam, but still works. All right, so let's do it. So what I did with this painting, when I started it for the demo, I started doing this in a way that I normally wouldn't have done this painting. I would have done the sky first and the background, and then that way as I build it more forward, I don't have to repaint stuff. If I were to do it from the foreground to the background, there'd be instances, because I'm putting, you know, the closer stuff, you know, the farther away stuff on the closer stuff, I'd have to do a bunch of adjusting. So that's why I usually work from background to foreground. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to fill in the gaps on the top half of this to get down to the water, so that when I do all the details, I don't have to keep, you know, going back and forth. So, so let's do that. Now, let me show you the, this is the image. Let me show you the whole image. That's the whole image. It's not really the whole image, but it's the composition that I'm using. And I love this because it just gives that really like from here to forever type feel. You know, that when you have this vertical type painting, yet there's a ton of information in the front, and then it just blasts out to nothing in the back. It's a pretty traditional way to do it. If you look at the Mona Lisa, you get all of Mona Lisa, and then it's like you're looking forever in the background. You know, it just goes from here to like forever. It's really cool. So that's kind of what we're working with this. All right. So what I'm going to do now, it's decision time with this. I'm not particularly positive that this is parallel to the top. I think it tilts a little bit, and I don't want that because it's annoying enough that it's annoying enough of a tilt where it looks unintentional. And I know it's hard for you guys to see, but I'm pretty sure it's there. Let's double check it. That might make it easy. So I guess I got to go from here. It's 5 and that's 7/8. I guess well, you know what? I'm going to have to draw the line out because it's not enough of it. So what I'm going to do, back you guys out a little bit. So I'm going to just draw the horizon out to see where it goes. I'm pretty sure it's not straight. I'm pretty sure it's smaller on this side than on the right side, but we'll double check it. Okay. All right, what did I say? 7/8 on that side, and yeah, it's a shade more, but I don't know if it's worth messing around with. All right. Yeah, screw it. We'll just go with it. Looking at Scott's setup the other day made me jealous, so I tried to upgrade one of my cameras. Everything stopped working. Yes, isn't it crazy? He has NASA going on over there, Svi. So one of the best pieces of advice Scott gave me was to go with a mechanical switcher over a software-based switcher. When I started, I was looking at all the software-based switchers because I had a DSLR that I really wanted to use, and the only way to do that with that older camera was to have a piece of software doing all of it. But the mechanical one is so much nicer because I could literally just plug whatever into it. Literally whatever. If it has an HDMI plug in it, I can plug it into this thing, and it will take all whatever it is, sort it all out, and just give me a single clear signal back to the computer. Or in this case, I could actually run live without the computer. So yeah, it was brilliant. Anyway, let's do it. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the sky. So now that this is reasonably flat enough, I mean it's going to be fine. I'm just going to use this copy as the stencil. So I'm going to basically just cut out the sky, and I'm going to wing it. I'm going to throw the clouds in wherever. I don't know. I bought this photo from, who did I buy it from? I'm not sure now. It was I don't think it was Getty Images, but it was one of them, whoever it was. So it doesn't have. Well, I didn't even look. It may have information on who took the photo and where it was taken, but I'm not sure. So So I'll look into that because I still have all the files and everything. One day I'd really like to do some live painting. I have to sort out a lot before I can, though. Painting skills for start. No, Simon, though, that's the thing. Don't wait because here's the thing. Like I was saying on everything, everyone's at a different spot. So there are people who could probably get a lot of information out of whatever you do for a live feed. So whether you think you're not quite there yet or are, I don't think you should wait. I think, obviously, I mean, you want to have a plan, but no, don't, just if you have information, I'm all about sharing it. So, all right. So that's it. Pretty exciting, huh? I should move that down. I don't know if I can now, though, because it's got the jumbo magnets on it. There we go. All right. All right, one more look at this for you guys. So the sky is pretty straight ahead. It's really difficult to tell where this was taken. There's no trees that you can see. That's usually a pretty fair giveaway on roughly where this would be on, in the planet. The water seems very clear, but there is algae on the rocks. So the sky seems pretty cool. It doesn't have that green tropical-ish color. So I'll just kind of go with the blue and see what happens. Actually, I'll use phthalo blue. That's a little bit of a good compromise there. Yeah, Marshall's got it right there. Because like I said, Simon, I'm guaranteed, because I can't tell you how many times, and I watch a lot of YouTube now because I've been working on it. I can't tell you how many times, like, I'll get stuff out of everyone. Like, not only just artists, just everyone. Like, I'll see something that, even if it's another discipline, it's not airbrushing, it's some other form of art. I'll be like, oh, that's really cool. I got to look into that or whatever. So, yeah, don't wait if you're thinking about doing it. I was smart enough to turn on the compressor this time, though. That's a good thing. You just wing it like I do. Yeah, like Svi's got it too. And Simon, sometimes I'm not sure what your goal is for going live. Some people go on to teach. That's what they want to do. They want to get on there and show people how to do stuff. I really enjoy just watching people work, So sometimes it's not even about showing people how to do stuff. For me, like I said, I just like tuning in when I'm working or doing the stuff over on the desk, and just have it running when someone's working. Just kind of see how they do their thing. So do I want to switch this to daylight? Yeah, I was gonna use phthalo blue, but I'm gonna use the 0087, the opaque daylight blue to start, because it's a pretty intense blue by itself. Even though they call it daylight blue, that's it's a pretty deep sky color by itself. So we're going to start, and I started by using a little bit of white in there. With this, there's a very short fade here. It's light along the horizon, and then it gets a little bit darker as it goes up. So that's what I'm shooting for. I'm shooting for that lighter part of it first, and then I'll add the fade in after. So. Really, it would be for the fun of it, and hopefully to help pass on what knowledge I have. Simon, that's exactly why you should do it. So I would say don't wait. I'm going to throw a little bit of reducer in that too. The reducer with the 40-50, just to kind of blend that out a bit. Yeah, I'm always encouraging people who are thinking about going live to go live, because like I said, even if they're not teaching anything, I just like hanging out and watching how someone else works. Because even then, I still pick up stuff. That's perfect. That's a good color. So it's just light enough. It doesn't have that green cast that the phthalo blue has, which will be good. All right. Plus, because of my recent Simon Dan and debunking and all that fun stuff, it seems like all the people I watch now are from the UK. So I don't know why, but that's just the way it seems to be popping up. All right. I'm at a goofy angle because of the camera, but oh well. So while this ultimately will be a fade, that's not the way I approach it. So what I've done is I've taken that lighter color. Actually, this is really pretty intense out of the gate. This may be a little bit too intense, which is okay. I would have liked this to be a little bit lighter so that I could have, kind of left that haze at the bottom. So I'm going to have to do that manually. So what I'm doing is, the idea originally was to paint this whole thing with this color and then fade the blue into it. But I think I'm going to leave a little bit of haze at the horizon with this. We'll see how this looks. There is a little hair right there too. That's not cool at all. All right, see if I can get that out without screwing up the whole thing. All right. Ugh. Yeah, there's a little tiny black hair on there. Normally wouldn't make a difference. Well, actually, there are clouds there, so we're going to be in good shape. So what I'm doing is with like the lightest touch because I don't want to scratch the paint. Here we go. Surgery is complete. These guys a little closer. There we go. That was a win because if I scratched that, I mean I'd have to really dump a lot of paint on this now to cover that. But because all I did was I was able to get the hair out without too much trouble. Just a couple passes and then that is all set. That's lovely. Dry that off. That actually may be the right color all by itself. A little bit darker. Yeah, I think a little bit darker because it'll show off the clouds a little bit. Now, the other thing too with this, before I go and do the fade on the sky there, I'm going to introduce some of the blue along the water closest to the landmass back there. That way, since I have it in the brush and it's all mixed up, I can fade a bunch of that color in right now and not have to remix it later. So it's just kind of killing two birds with one stone. So from here down to here-ish, I'm going to use that same blue. So. With all the live streams, we're going to need a schedule around the world. Yeah, Franz, jump onto Facebook, and Simon did a great job at putting together a kind of a TV guide for all the feeds that are running around. And again, I know I talk about it a bunch, and I'm here on YouTube now, so I can talk about it even more. But the way that YouTube does what it does, it really does make things easy across the board for all this stuff. Even the people now that I follow, it's so much easier to keep track of them with the way YouTube does it. So yeah, Facebook is a little bit different because there are many times when someone goes live that I know I've subscribed to, and also I've also click notifications for, and I don't get an update that they're going live. So YouTube isn't like that at all. I can always tell when someone's on that I follow. One, because it bumps it up to the top of my my little channels tab on the side, but also just the way that they do it with the icons and everything. So yes, I can absolutely see a day when all the feeds that I do are on YouTube. So like the Monday night one would be on YouTube, as well as the this Thursday one. Oh, missed that. So this what I'm doing is I'm cutting out the water. It's not. I mean, if I wanted to include the land, I could. It's just I don't know. It's just as easy not to, and then throw it in. And what that will also do is allow me to develop a specific color for that landmass without messing with it. I also really don't mind that there's more of that color down in here. It's just really just a kind of a place marker to kind of get it in. Yeah, definitely check that out, Franz. It's extremely helpful. Like, all right, a good example is Bill Snagan. When he's on, like, I know he's on Tuesdays. And I know, I think he goes on at 7:30. I'm usually running around on Tuesdays, and so to get a notification that he's on would be really helpful, because sometimes I just lose my, where I'm at. And I know the past couple times it hasn't done that. It hasn't given me a notification that he's live. And I know I subscribe to him, and I know I have all the, the right buttons pushed. So, yeah, just weird. All right. Also notice this rock isn't stuck down. I don't really, it's like, again, it's not a major deal if I get underspray on this part, because the rocks are going to cover them. What I don't want to do, though, and I'm coming in at an angle like this, because I don't want to cover over this little fade that I've got right above the mountains or land or whatever that is. So I'm kind of coming in at an angle so I don't really touch that. And then once I get that, then I can just fill in the rest. And that'll give me the base for this. Now this color is also going to be darker when it's done. So again, this more acts like a primer than anything. And it takes just all the having to build up out of it, which makes it easy. You can't beat YouTube for that. I stream to Twitch also, but YouTube wins hands down. Yeah, Svi, my kids tried to get me into live feeding on Twitch as well. I think if I did Twitch, like I have an account, but if I actually started using Twitch, I would use it just like you're using it, where it would have to be an instance where I'm, on one, like YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I don't think I'd end up doing a separate feed just for that. It just can't keep up with it. Oh, that's awesome, Franz. Yeah. All right, so there you go. Yay. All right, next is, oh, I needed that. I don't really need this. I don't really. Yes, I do, because of the rocks. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add that fade in on the top side of the sky, and then we'll put the clouds in. And what's nice about this is that it's simple enough that the sky will be pretty much done. The water itself will take a little bit because of all the little waves and all that, but the sky will actually be done pretty fast. All right, so I'm going to use the same color, but I'm going to dump some of this out because there's a lot of it. So in order to tint this darker, it's just more efficient, because I'm only going to use a tiny bit of it, to dump some of this out. So I will do that. Well, actually, we're not really using a palette, but oh well, there we go. And for the darker part of this, I will use the palette. I'm going to use, to darken this up, I'm going to use the opaque phthalo blue. So I'll put a little bit of that out on the palette. It's almost time to swap out this parchment on this too. It's full on up, so it's time to get going on that. All right, so a little bit of this blue, and just a tiny paintbrush bit of it. So if I put a whole drop, it's going to totally take this over. I don't want that. I just want a little bit more intensity in that blue. Now when I add that blue, I'm going to add a little bit of reducer in the 4050 to it as well, because I want this to be really, really thin and transparent. So that's what this is for. And I am loving this spiked reducer. So what this is, and you guys have seen this if you've been watching, it's 1 part 4050, which is a UVLS gloss, and 10 parts reducer. And it's like I said, I call it like a spiked reducer. It really, really works well. It smooths out the paint, so it thins it out, but it also smooths it out so that difficult colors end up spraying really well, like white and earthy colors and things like that. All right. See how that is. So with this color, it's not tremendously darker than the one I just had, which is really what I want. I'd rather sneak up on it. What I do need to do though, where's my little, so that original light blue is still from here to here in the brush. So I got to get that out of there, or I got to spray it out, but it's just as easy to back flush it. And what that does is the air forces it all back in the cup and then mixes it up. So that way I'm not spraying that lighter color up on the top again. Again, it wouldn't overly matter because eventually that darker color would come out, but if I want to be a little bit more efficient about it, I could just do what I just did there. So I'm really just kind of concentrating on that top 1/4 inch. Where's my, yeah, so not the whole thing, not trying to fade it down, just kind of running that band across the top really lightly. Now for those getting into it, trust me, if I want to go do a fade from dark blue to light blue, it's so much easier to do it this way, to put the lightest color down over the whole thing and then introduce a slightly darker band and then a slightly darker band after that and keep going that way, than to try to take that dark color, spray it across the top and then lightly fade it down as you go. It's going to be real grainy when you do that. Even if you have a really high, like a high atomizing brush, it's still going to be grainy. But if you do it this way, you get this fade that's like imperceptible, which is fun. Question, Steve, have you used the OBS to stream on multiple platforms simultaneously? I have not. But yeah, that's what Svi just said. That's what he uses. So the way it works now for me, I can do that. I just gotta get it set up, which is actually not that hard because my big computer is literally right next to all this. So what I would need to do is get OBS on my big computer, stream to that, and then I can split it off from there. I think I might be able to split it off from here, but literally right now, I'm telling you, with this the Blackmagic, the switcher I have, I'm literally going right from this directly into just there is no computer. I mean, there is a computer involved to control the switcher, but that has nothing to do with getting the signal out. That's all done through the switcher. So yeah, no, I'm gonna have to look into that, because the other thing would be nice. I know I'm gonna have to do it eventually when I start to make a transition, if that's the way it's gonna go off of Facebook. I want to do what Scott was doing, where he had both the YouTube and the Facebook feeds running at the same time, and then he's gradually moving people over to YouTube where it's a better experience. So that's the way I'm going to have to do it. I don't want to go cold turkey and leave the people who don't have, who don't use YouTube a lot, but use Facebook a lot. I don't want to leave them hanging. So, but yeah, I'm going to have to figure that out. All right, I'm going to switch you guys to a little bit more of an extreme angle here. Not extreme, but a little bit more of an angle so I can get you closer and I can see what I'm doing. There we go. But you get the idea. So that's a really, really nice fade now. Just gives me a good overall fade for that. So I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go nuts on it and make it too dark, because there's not too much area up here. It's, if I have a real intense blue fade here, it's going to look awkward. I'd rather leave it like this. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on the clouds. Technically as many as you like or want. You're uploading one stream to the Restreamer server and then sharing it. So that's it. So that's the information I need, which is exactly what's going on here. So maybe I will just, as far as Twitch goes, I mean, I know I have no one over there because I'm never on it, but it might be good to just fire it up. It's just one more. It's just one more set of analytics that I have to keep an eye on, which I'm not looking forward to. The 2 destinations for free. If you want more, you have to pay a monthly fee. That's fair. That's totally fair. What I need to do is I need to find a good 3D animator. I really want a super quick opening and closing type video title screen, out screen type of thing. So starting to think about that a lot, and find someone who could do that and maybe trade him some art or something, art for art or that kind of thing. Awesome. Looking to upgrade cameras and software, and OBS seems to be, yeah, OBS is the big boy in that for sure. The camera I got, this camera here that you're looking at, that was what was it? It was a Canon Mach 2. Where is it? It's funny. There it is. M50. Yeah, it's an M50 Mach 2. So that was the last big camera to get. I would absolutely love if things got to a point where I could justify the Blackmagic cameras that go with all these switchers. They are absolutely beautiful. They are they are so controllable and all that. The only thing is they're like 3 times the price of this camera right here. So things would have to be rolling big time, I guess, on the YouTube side to justify that. So, but it'd be nice if I could get it to that point. All right, so pull that off, and that's what that looks like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of the other copies to kind of get the clouds. I don't like where these clouds are. They're nailed up against the top of this, so I think I'm going to just use them as a reference and just kind of float some clouds in just below, like right in here. So for that I need some white. A little bit of white. So this is the white is 1:1, 1 part paint to 1 part reducer, and this will give me a good balance of just detail versus coverage too. What I'm going to have to do now that I've got all 4 corners painted in this too, I'm going to, after the feed, I'm going to hit this with some UVLS satin just to kind of protect the corners. Because now that I've got the corners painted, the more I handle this, and it won't take much to kind of scratch off. Not even scratch off. What you end up doing is you're wearing down the corners, and then you start seeing white. I don't want that. So the UVLS helps a little bit with that. All right. So for the clouds, just going to kind of freehand them in. And this is still a little bit too thick, so I'm going to throw in like basically the skeleton of the cloud, like that. And now I'm just going to add some more reducer to this. That's a lot of super chats for one of those cameras. Yeah, I think, but I've been doing all the projections on where a channel can go, and then conversely what needs to be invested into it to. Here's the thing, like if the channel grows as I hope it will, I'm going to want to make sure that I give back in quality what people are putting into it, either with the super chats or just whatever it is, like with all the 543 stuff we do. So, I can absolutely positively see a day that kind of investment is worth it. Because you watch, like, one of the guys I watch a lot is Adam Savage, and from Mythbusters. And when I was looking for information on these switchers, one of the reviews of the switcher was done by Norm, one of the guys on Tested, his channel. So he went over the switcher, and he's also, he was showing the cameras as well, which they use Blackmagic cameras as well. And you look at his feed, and it looks pro. I mean, it looks like it's network TV. The cameras are that good. Now, of course, he's got a zillion followers, and he is where he is. But that kind of investment makes a lot of sense to me as a channel grows. So I would love to see that happen. I will always try to keep it simple. Like I know, Scott, one of the things Scott really, you can tell he enjoys it. That's the thing. So he has all that tech, and you can tell he really loves getting into it and, getting the most out of all that stuff. I'm not quite like that, so I would rather run it simple and, have it work. So while I think I would increase the quality of the cameras on my own. I think if it got to the point where, I needed a bunch of other stuff or thought a bunch of stuff would help, then that's when I would probably bring someone in to give me a hand. He gets caught. Fat Adam Savage. See, I don't see it. That's funny though. Yeah, I could be best friends with Adam Savage. I really do like his channel. He's yeah, he is quite the guy. All right, so I'm talking. I'm not really explaining. Hopefully you guys can see it. I know it looks kind of washed out on my monitor, but I don't think it really is to you guys. But you get the idea. So what I've done is I'm just using the photograph, but all I'm doing is taking those clouds and sliding them down a little bit so that they're not nailed up against the top. One of the things that I was talking about with the composition Tech Tuesday, which I didn't mention, but I'll mention now for you guys, where putting anything on those diagonals or anything shoved directly in the corners will demand a lot of attention. If you put anything directly on the edge, especially if it goes along the edge, that also just demands a lot of attention, and it becomes a border. And that's great if that's what you want, but for me, it's rare that I'd want anything to really go across the entire edge. It stops someone's eyes from feeling like the image continues. You know what I mean? So that's why it was important for me to get these clouds off that edge. Now I can touch the edge. Like in these last ones, I'm going to run these up and off the edge. But to have all of them on the edge, that's where it becomes kind of an issue. So for this cloud here, I'm going to run this right up and off the top. So what that does is it mimics this rock right here. So it gives you a little bit of repetition and variation, which is very good for just overall design. Our brains love that. Like you think of all these, I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like when you see things that are repeated but yet slightly different, it's a really good design type of thing. So flattery will get you everywhere. Nice. I just want to shop. I think that's why I like him so much. Well, one of the reasons I like watching him so much, like if you haven't seen him on YouTube, the name of the channel is called Tested, but you can look him up by Adam Savage too. And if you watch Mythbusters and enjoyed it, you'll like his channel. What I really like about, I have to assume he's doing okay. That he's not broke. He lives in San Francisco. He was, Mythbusters ran for I think 14 years. So you would think he's doing okay, but his shop is so it's just so modest and so like what I would have, like crowded and crazy, and but yet of course the tools he has in there are breathtaking. Some like his lathe is amazing, but again it's not like a $1 million lathe. It's this old time lathe that he frequently has to work on, and it's just down to earth, yet it's just all good. It really is all good. Plus Norm, his, like I said, it's not really a sidekick. He has a bunch of people working there, but I guess he's one of the other hosts, I guess you could call him. He's definitely the tech guy. He's also a scale model builder, which I love. So I love to see his kind of content as well. So they just do a really good job. All right, so get it? Clouds, pretty simple. One thing, again, what I want to keep track on this, and I'll show you the image again. So there's a lot of visual information in the foreground, like a lot. And then even as the waves kind of continue through that gap up above, not waves, but those little ripples on the water, that's a lot of information as well. So this is the same kind of thing as the gas station that I was just talking about. There's a lot of visual information. And at some point in a painting, you got to give people a chance to rest. So that's what the sky is going to be. So I don't want to put in too many clouds. I don't want to have them really like sharp and in your face. I need a place for someone to just kind of like float out in the painting and just relax for a minute before they get back into it. I know that sounds weird because it's just rocks. You know, you'd think it's just rocks. But when you really start to look at these rocks and everything that's going on in this, our brain picks up on all that. It compiles all that information. And believe me, it you know, it's not like looking at a blank page. There's a lot going on there. And even someone who may not feel like they're very observant, their brains are picking up on all of it. So I like to put in an area in a painting that just kind of lets people just relax. And especially with this, because it is supposed to be kind of a relaxing scene. I don't want the whole thing to be thrash metal, you know, no breaks at all. I wanted to give a little bit of a chance to kind of chill out. So, all right, so I'm going to leave the middle here with no clouds. I'm going to poke in another little tiny cloud here just to kind of help people connect the dots over to this other rock. And then that'll be that. Stunning. Enzo, what are you doing? Knock that off. At least, hopefully, it's not a bad round. Yeah, his cave is Nerd Nirvana for sure. Yeah, Enzo, I hope you get through this one quick. Hope you fly through this. Whether it's the replica props, models, or tools, there's a ton of nerd about, and I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the, you know, just the stuff he collects too is amazing. Steve, I meant to say that the Tech Tuesday on pricing your artwork was awesome, really educational, pretty unique subject for video. Yeah, that question gets put out there a lot, and I've seen so many different answers to that question that don't really answer the question. You know, like the real dry, like, oh, you know, you just charge this much per inch or whatever, or a beginning artist should be getting this. It has no bearing on people's actual lives. So I like to kind of have people take a step back, and if you do that, if you kind of look at what you're spending and including your time on things, then it's a personal thing, and you're more vested in it too. Like, I didn't mention it in the video, I sort of alluded to it, but that confidence that you get from knowing that, you know, that number that would be a win for everyone makes it so much easier. And I don't know if, because I felt it, and I feel a lot of artists feel this way, when you have to give someone a price in the beginning, you feel weird, like I don't know, it's like, you know, you love doing it, you love painting, how, you know, it feels odd to ask for money for that because you love doing it so much, you feel guilty or whatever. When you know the number, the actual number that it costs you to make stuff, it gives you much more confidence to say, okay, this is what would cover this, and this is what I would like to make on top of that. It makes it so much easier to give someone a price then, because you know that they're winning because they get a great piece of artwork, and you know that you're winning, that you're not like cutting your arm off to do the sale. So hope that makes sense. Yeah, hopefully, I can't wait for COVID-19 to be definitely in the rear view, although it seems to be, our herd immunity seems to be catching up, which is good. Oh, good. That's awesome, Enzo. Yeah, well, let's stick with that. All right, next up, I think I'm going to do the mountains next. So the mountains, I wish, I can't zoom in on this for you guys, but obviously the mountains are blue too because they're way in the distance. I guarantee some of it, though, the bottom you can't see because of the curvature of the earth, though, but we won't get into that. But anyway, they're blue because of the atmospheric perspective, that atmosphere between here and there. So I'm going to use the same blue. I could have done the whole thing with that light blue looking at it, but it's okay. All right. What I think we'll do is we'll knock out the mountains, and then I'll probably let you guys go so I can get to the rest of the day. So I have white in here now, which actually works out pretty well. This is where it's nice also having the black and white copies. Not only do I use these for placement, but I can also use this for value too. So if you look at this again, if I jump out to this, if you look at those mountains, they're darker obviously than the sky and the sea, but it's easy to not think they are as dark as they really are. Where if you have the photocopy, you can actually see how dark they are. They're dark like the water down here. So that's a good thing to know. So they come in two parts here. There's the background mountains, looks like, and then the foreground mountains, which are darker. Obviously, the farther we go away, the more atmosphere there is and the lighter that gets. So we're going to do this the same way as we kind of did the sky. I'm going to put in the background first, and then I'll recut a template and put in the foreground, and then they'll be done. So it's pretty easy. It does feel totally weird. I only recently took a first commission from a friend. They insisted on paying something, but it took me a while to nail down how much. Now I have a system from your video. Yeah, that's it. Especially friends and family. Man, that's so tough. And, like I said in the video, we're always going to do stuff for our family for nothing. That's always going to be. But what's interesting about that is kind of what I said at the end too. I say nothing, but it really is something. Like when I do a painting for my kids, and obviously I'm not charging them for that, I feel I got way more than I gave get back way more than I gave, as far as or need to get in return from the painting. So I do get stuff, and I use that example for the charity too. When you give something to a charity, that has a value, that has a real value. So even though you're giving it away, that value of the painting is still there because it's going on to do great things, and you were a part of that. So knowing what the value is the whole point of it. Just makes it a whole lot easier. I didn't get into people asking for stuff for free and all that, because that's a whole other thing. People who don't respect what you're doing. It also makes it easier for you to explain what you're doing to people as well when you have a good idea. All right, I'm going to give you guys, we'll do this so you can just barely see it. So what I'm going to do, I didn't save the cutouts I should have. Did I really not? Oh, maybe I do have it. Oh, that's exciting. So I do. I saved this cutout. So that is actually the top part. So now really I'm all set. I was going to have to recut this out, but now I don't. So kudos to me for not throwing shit out. Yeah, that I could just do Tech Tuesdays for the rest of time just on pricing and value and all that. And, the longer you do it and the more people see you doing it for real, the easier it gets for people to not assume that, the stuff just falls out of the sky and, or the bro discount or whatever they call it. It's just, I don't know. It definitely changes your perspective. You know what I mean? It's like, just, definitely changes your perspective. All right. So I don't have the rocks covered, but I'll just use a template to do that, which will make it easy. So it's back to mixing paint. Yeah, absolutely. So there's no problem doing that. But on the other side of that, like I have family members, one in particular, that that not only never asks for any kind of break, this person will always pay full amount, even though I argue with them. And what that is that's just allowing people to feel good about what they're doing as well. And that took a long time for me to kind of wrap my head around. So what I did was, while I'm talking, there's white in there from the clouds, but I just put a couple drops of the, or I just put one drop of the daylight blue in it. Understanding that some people, it's okay for some people or for people to do, nice things for you. Like, especially family members, if they see you doing this and they know you're trying to make it work, the family member that says, okay, not only am I going to give you what, you've said it's worth, I'm going to give you extra. That's just someone being super amazingly awesome. And that's hard to accept. So what I do in an instance like that is I keep a mental note of the people who do that so that I can get them back worse later. So, yeah, so that's the way you can do that. Oh my gosh, V, let's start with that. Exposure bucks. Oh my God. Yeah, that's a beauty. Oh, dude. Paint this for me and I'll get I'll tell all my friends. And then I'm like, okay, so wait, I'll paint this for you for free, and then all your friends will come by and want all their stuff for free. Is that how that's going to work? Or Keith Hansen had a good one too. He said, yeah, no problem. I will give you a discount. But here's how it's going to work. This is what Keith's was. Now I remember it. So when someone says, yeah, I'm gonna throw you a lot of work, just cut me a deal on this one. He says, I will definitely cut you a deal on this one, but the way it's going to work, or not on this one, but the way it's going to work is that I will do those 6 jobs that you said you were going to bring in, and the very last one I will give you the discount on. And that was like, yeah, that's good. All right. So I've got the template, just blocking that off. I've got a, not a super dark blue. It's probably, where I left off with the fade. Just going to block off the rock and paint in these mountains. What I want to do is, before I pull this off, I want to, actually, I don't need none of them. I'm going to try to do this without having these magnets slapped together. Dangerous. That's how that one got broken. They snapped together and then busted apart. It was a sad day. So I'm going to hit this to saturation. And then I'm going to take a peek at it. So let me cover this rock here. The other good one is, hey, how much for cash? I'm like, what do you mean, how much for cash? It's like, I know what they're asking, but that implies that you're hiding money, and I don't do that, so it's the same price for cash. Exposure bucks. Yeah, it's fantastic. And the other good one, too, is I went to the grocery store and wanted to pay for my groceries in exposure bucks. How about this? How about I do a really good job for you? You drive around with your, or, if you're doing a bike, you ride around on that bike, everyone sees it, they love it, and they come to me and get more stuff. How about that? All right, let me take, I don't want to move this one. I want to move this one. So let me pull this and see if, yeah, that's perfect. So that was kind of a lucky shot. Normally what happens is I'd pull this back and it would be the same color as the water or need to be adjusted. This is when I would do that. So I check it first and then I could adjust it. Fortunately, though, it worked out that was pretty much right on the money right from the start. I would love to say that's how it happens all the time, but I would be lying to you. I would definitely be lying to you. All right. So next up, that's the background color. So the next part of the mountains are going to be a little bit darker. I'll switch you over for this so you can kind of see what I'm cutting out. That. Yes, exposure bucks. Love them. You know what? If anything, what comes with doing this for a long time is that isn't a thing later on. At least it isn't for me. Like, I never have people doing that to me now. I do, yeah, I mean, I get, goofy requests but those aren't people who really know what's going on. They just don't know what they're doing. So But no, I rarely. And then anyone like that, if there is anyone like that now, I don't do that job anyway. For the commission stuff. Like I said, I take so few commissions now, which is nice. I still do because I like it, especially the 543 ones. I think I'll always do those, but for the bigger ones, it's much easier for me now to just say, you know what, yeah, I think you need to find someone else. All right, so now when I pull that, you can see the foreground, but now you can see those little gaps in it that are the background. So the reason why I do it this way, instead of doing the foreground and then just cutting out a few of those background chunks, is when I paint this in, I'll be done. If I do it in reverse, say I paint the foreground first and then try to cut out little templates for those, there's a good chance I'll get underspray on the foreground right here, and I'll have to fix that. So again, it just saves that little bit of extra time. So we line this guy up. What I definitely want to do, though, one of the big hopes for this year, too, I moved out here during COVID. So I moved out the summer of 2020. So COVID was doing its thing. So all the shows were shut down. I was having fun doing the bike shows with Keith and everyone back in Massachusetts before everything shut down. I think I would love to find a good show around here in Ohio and just set up shop and just buy, get a table and hang out. Because I really love those shows. I didn't get too many commissions from them. It was mostly, smaller sales and things like that. Like the 543s and the prints and all that kind of stuff. Not the 543s, but stuff like that. But I really enjoyed kind of getting out there and showing the stuff for real. All right, what I'm going to do... So same thing, I've got blue in here. I'm going to dump some of this out because if I try to tint that, I'll end up putting a ton more paint in that I don't need. So I'm just going to... Oh, that's perfect. Okay. One drop will be good. Let's start with that. And I'm going to reduce that out. Same thing with that spiked reducer. Bunch of drops of that. I have to, I mentioned this on the Monday night feed too. I somehow managed to screw up the nozzle on my Micron B, which sucks. So I'm going to have to get that fixed up. Get that order in this week. Every time though, Svi, every time I pull up Coast Airbrush, I look at that infinity. I'm like, ugh. So all I need is another brush. That sexy thing. The model one is I forget the new model scale model version, the little tiny mini one. Funny how you mentioned that. I'm trying to get back in the bike scene over here as we speak. Yeah, I you know what really got me thinking about it? I really had no intention, because the only reason I did a lot of bike stuff was because I was a minute from Keith Hansen here in Massachusetts, or there in Massachusetts. When I got out here, I'm like, well, I'm good with that. I don't want to, I was doing it because I was close to it. But everyone out here rides. In Ohio, there's no helmet law, and the roads, most of the roads are straight and reasonably okay. So there are a lot of people that ride out here, and I'm like, oh, it would be fun to do something. A couple of small shows I went to just outside of Cleveland were a lot of fun. Yeah, and that's only an hour from me, so I can do that. And I'm about an hour and 15 minutes from both Cleveland and Pittsburgh, so there's a lot of options there. So I just got to, get off my ass and look to see what's out there. All right. So this, I really want to just kind of hit this like I just did and then take a look. I don't want to overdo this. Again, I'd rather just kind of hit it and have it be done. This might be enough, and it is. It's done. That's all it took. So I'll show you what that looks like. So ta-da! There are your mountains in the distance. There you go. Yeah. Svi should definitely do it. Oh, and Svi, you'll enjoy this. I have a an SG copy that I need to paint. So that's coming up this winter too. I gotta get that done. So that's gonna be a lot of fun, and it's raw. There's no finish on it. It's one of those kit guitars. So yeah, that's gonna be a blast. All right, let me back you guys up. I'll show you kind of what that all was. This was kind of, I wasn't kidding when I posted this was a potluck. This was definitely a weird feed, but hopefully got to see a little bit of fun stuff. There we go. We'll put that there for a second so you can get a look at it. All right, so there's what that looks like. Let me, before I do that, that's what that looks like. So it's going to need some adjusting, but that's okay. The base of it is in. It may not even need adjusting when I'm done, but I'll jump back to this and I'll show you what we got. So the reason why it may need adjusting is because of how, you know, obviously there's no paint on here. When I get the yellow in on these rocks and it drops the value a little bit, the sky may need a little bit of bumping around, but that's easy to do. Whether I need to lighten it or darken it, it's an easy thing to do. So now that the base is in, so what the next step is on this is I would start working on the water, and then just getting all those wavelets in, and then that will be done. And then from there, it's just messing with the rocks. So there you go. That is what's going on with that. Let me switch that back. Switch that back. All the fun stuff. Here we go. And switch this out of the way. There we go. Beauties. So there is your Thursday night. What is that? Oh, that's that. Sorry. All this stuff. Lights and wires and what have you. So thank you to everyone. And I know I've mentioned it a bunch of times. Big thanks. Again, this is the UK, the GMT version of the feed. So a huge thanks to Dell at Visionaire. Yeah, it's just this thing is working out amazing. I ended up buying mine from Coast Airbrush, but you guys are lucky that you're right there. So any new innovations that he comes out with, you guys get first, which I am super jealous of. But like I said in the Monday feed, since I set this whole thing up for the live feeds and everything, the station, I still got my other, station, the big drafting table. I haven't painted at it since I had this set up. So it is really, it's really just a great setup. So thanks to Dell and all the work he's doing with that. So that's what I got. So again, thank you for hanging out on this Thursday evening for my GMT friends, and good afternoon for my East Coast friends, and good morning for my West Coasters. We'll be back at it next week. I promise I will be a little bit more. Oh, you know what we'll do next week? I will have that gas station painting ready to start, or at least started already, and we'll work on that because I do need to get that done. So I'll be prepared next week for that. So that's what I got. All right, so for Steve Leahy and Thursday Live, don't forget to get in your comment on that community post so you can win a 543 as a thank you for all you guys and girls that subscribed. I love you all. You guys are awesome. So I will catch you guys next week, and have a great weekend.